Tell me, when did you start fearing me? Was it when I stopped being silent? Or was it when I stopped bending to your will? You see, there's something terrifying about a person who's no longer afraid, who's no longer under your control. You tried to shape me into what you wanted, but you forgot one thing. The more you pushed, the more I transformed into something far more powerful than you ever imagined. Now, the monster you created stands before you, and I ask you this. Why would I ever apologize for becoming exactly what you feared? There was a time when I gave you everything: my loyalty, my trust, my energy, my soul. I thought that if I kept giving, if I kept bending over backward, eventually you'd see me. You'd acknowledge the sacrifices I made, the pieces of myself I left behind, just to make you happy. But that moment never came, did it? No matter how much I gave, it was never enough. You took and took until there was nothing left of me. My spirit was worn down to nothing more than dust, barely recognizable in the mirror. I lost myself trying to please you, trying to fit into the box you built for me. But here's the thing about losing yourself: it doesn't last forever. At some point you reach a tipping point. The point where you realize that trying to be who others want you to be is killing the real you. And that's when the monster inside is born. It's not a creature of chaos, no. It's a force, a reckoning, built from all the pain and silence you tried to bury deep inside. You thought you had me chained, didn't you? You mistook my compliance for weakness. You assumed that as long as you could keep me in that box, I'd never escape. But those chains you wrapped around me? They were only temporary. They were never as strong as you believed them to be. You tried to control my thoughts, my actions, my dreams. You dictated how I should live, what I should aspire to, even how I should feel. You wanted me to live in your world, by your rules. And for a long time I did. I lived in fear, afraid of what would happen if I ever broke free. But fear has a way of evolving. It can either consume you, or it can fuel you. And in my case, fear became my weapon. You wanted me to believe that I was powerless without you, that my value was tied to how well I followed your rules. But the truth is, I found my strength in your doubt. I found my power in the very chains you tried to lock me in. Every time you belittled me, every time you told me I wasn't good enough, something inside me grew stronger. You were too blind to see it. But the very thing you tried to suppress was building itself up, waiting for the moment it would finally break free. And now, here we are. You always feared this moment, didn't you? The day I would stop being the version of me you wanted, and become the version of me I was always meant to be. The monster you spent so much time trying to control has broken free. But here's the thing. I'm not a monster in the way you'd like to think. I'm not wild, reckless, or dangerous. No, I'm worse than that. I'm unapologetic. I no longer seek your approval. I no longer bend to your will. I no longer fear your judgment. I have become everything you feared because I no longer play by your rules. This monster you tried to bury is now standing tall, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't intimidate me. You can't guilt me into submission. The fear that used to hold me back is now the very thing that pushes me forward. Every time I look in the mirror, I see the scars you left behind, and instead of feeling pain, I feel power. I see strength. I see resilience. You wanted me to be weak, to live in the shadow of my potential, but all you did was awaken something far greater. Now, you can't control me. You can't silence me. You can't break me. I've become the embodiment of everything you tried to suppress, and that terrifies you. And here's the part you're going to hate the most. I don't owe you an apology. You want me to feel guilty for becoming who I am. You want me to regret breaking free from the mold you tried to force me into. Not a chance. You see, this monster you created, it's your doing. You pushed me to the edge, and now I've climbed back stronger than ever. You can blame me all you want, but deep down, you know the truth. You had the power to treat me with respect, with care, with kindness. But you didn't. And now, you have to live with the consequences. I'm done apologizing for who I am. I'm done shrinking myself to fit your world. I've learned that the only person I need to answer to is myself. My decisions, my life, my future, they're mine to control now. And I refuse to let anyone, especially you, dictate what I do from here on out. You tried to make me feel guilty for standing up for myself. You wanted me to regret the choices I've made, the boundaries I've set. But the only thing I regret is not doing it sooner, not realizing that I had this power all along. But let's not pretend like there aren't consequences, shall we? You see, there's a cost to everything. You awakened the monster in me, and now you have to live with the reality of that decision. I'm not the person I was before. I'm not the easy target you once knew. You can't manipulate me, you can't control me, and most importantly, you can't break me. The relationships I used to care so much about, they no longer hold the same weight. The opinions of others, they no longer dictate my worth. I've learned that the only validation I need is my own, and that realization has made me unstoppable. You can try to tear me down. You can try to convince me that I'm making a mistake, that I've lost myself in this process of transformation. But I know better. I've found myself in ways I never thought possible. The monster you feared has become the person I've always needed to be. I used to be ashamed of the parts of myself that didn't fit your narrative. The anger, the defiance, the hunger for more. You made me believe that those parts of me were wrong, but now I embrace them. I've come to realize that the parts of me you hated the most are the very parts that make me powerful. You called them flaws, but I see them for what they truly are, strengths. You wanted me to feel small because you feared what would happen if I ever embraced the full extent of who I am. And now, you have to face the reality that I am no longer afraid. I am the monster you can no longer control because I've embraced every part of myself that you tried to suppress. The anger, the resilience, the defiance, it's all part of who I am now, and I wouldn't change a thing. So here we are. You wanted to control me, but in the process, you gave me the greatest gift of all the knowledge that I don't need you. I don't need your approval, your validation, or your acceptance. I found my power in the very things you tried to use against me. I am the monster you can no longer control, and I wear that title with pride. You can try to tear me down, but it won't work. I've built myself up from the ashes of the person you tried to destroy, and now I stand taller, stronger, and more unstoppable than ever. So go ahead, try to put me back in that box. Try to convince me that I should feel guilty for the person I've become. But know this, you'll fail. Because the monster you created is here to stay, and there's nothing you can do about it. I am no longer yours to control. I am my own. And there's nothing more terrifying to you than that. By the way, if you want to level up in life, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.